I'm Ben Hunt's No.1 fan. My name's Bridget, and I'm also his wife.
Oh no, I butchered the last one.
Yeah, don't butcher this one too.
The old beetroot shots. Obviously my amazing wife's a dietitian and loves looking after my health and her own health, but she makes beetroot shots.
I make him have beetroot shots.
Makes me have beetroot shots. Obviously I know they're good for me, but
hates beetroot.
My palate doesn't really like the beetroot and the ginger and the turmeric and lemon and pretty much everything that goes into it, but
not a fan.
They get the job done. Very good. This one's you made this morning?
Yeah. Nice and fresh.
Like it tastes like there's pepper and chili in there. Like burns the throat, but keeps me healthy.
Beetroot has got nitrates in it, which is amazing for performance. So, you know, there's always rationale to doing these things. And he just has to tough it out sometimes.
I'm willing to tough it out. I'm 36 and still lucky enough to be playing NRL, so I think it's helping.
He grew up in a little town by the name of Dingo. Population of how many people? Not that many.
Oh, 100
1,000?
to 200, no.
Oh,
not even.
Not even?
In the actual town, yeah, it'd be somewhere between 100 and 200. It's pretty small.
You'd almost blink and miss it going past it, you know, in Central Queensland. But he's always spoken so highly of his childhood and, you know, the friendships and I suppose the community in and around living out west.
Growing up in such a small town was, you know, I thought I had the best childhood in the world. I really did. It was just probably the freedom that you had growing up in the bush, I think. You know, you could ride your horse around town, your motorbike, you can pretty much do what you like. And if you played up and did something wrong, everyone's parents would pull your head into line, you know. And then school holidays roll around, I'd pretty much spend the whole holidays with my grandma and granddad on their farm, you know, working cattle and things like that. And it's just, yeah, great memories.
Your granddad runs that property. It's a 10,000 acre property. He's about to turn 87 and he still runs it on his own. He's a weapon.
He is an absolute machine. Like he's still out in the cattle yards every day and out on his motorbike mustering and doing everything. I grew up in our family, we were obviously always on the farm, but we always had horses. We did all our mustering on horses. We did camp drafting. And I've just always had a passion for horses. There's something about them that, I don't know, there's just something special about being in the presence of a horse that brings me peace or calmness, I guess. I don't really know how to explain that.
Yes, so we've got a bit of a herd of horses. Yeah, that's a bit of a passion project of Ben's. They're all lovely. I'm still a little bit scared of horses.
Yeah, a few years ago now, we started breeding our own horses again, bought a couple and started breeding some. And yeah, it's just something that I'm pretty passionate about.
I think Ben would love to be a horse trainer one day, maybe.
One day, maybe.
Yeah. He played in under sixes and he played for the Blackwater Crushers. Yes.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Mighty Blackwater Crushers. Because Dingo was so small, Blackwater was a mining town of probably about 10,000 people, about half an hour up the road. So that was the closest town that I guess had a footy team. And yeah, we used to commute up there twice a week for training and play for them in the Central Highlands competition. We're a rugby league family. We always watched it. And you know, as soon as I got old enough that I could play, I was all for it. Absolutely loved it. The only other sport I really played in primary school was tennis because we lived across the road from the tennis court. So I played a bit of that. But yeah, rugby league was it for me.
Plenty of kick practice over the power lines.
Yeah, kicking over the power lines, over the road.
You had no one to play with.
Yeah, I only had a sister, so she wasn't real keen on kicking the footy with me, so I used to give myself challenges, kick it over this tree. If I got that, I'd kick it over the power lines, and eventually got to where I'd try and kick it over the road onto the tennis court on the other side of the road, and yeah, just kept trying to entertain myself. I remember when I got to 12, I was 12 years old, Broncos sent a scout out to watch me. Someone had obviously told them that I was talented enough to send someone out and watch me, and Cyril, Connell, the old great talent scout for the Brisbane Broncos, came up to Blackwater and watched me play a game when I was 12, Now I think it's amazing. Now, when I was 12, it was kind of like, no, like you don't really grasp it when you're 12. Like you think it's cool, but you don't really know the extent of...
Understand the gravity.
Understanding, of how big and how crazy that is, I guess. For a talent scout from the Brisbane Broncos to fly to Rockhampton, drive 2 hours out to Blackwater to watch an under-12 player play, like you don't really think about that when you're that age.
Did you know that they were coming out specifically for you?
I didn't know until after the game.
Yeah.
That they were coming, or that they were there. So yeah, it was pretty wild, I guess.
Certainly a kid from the bush at heart, and then moved to Yeppoon in grade 8.
Yeah, went to boarding school.
Went to boarding school, moved to Yeppoon, and then, yeah, Ben's mum and dad followed suit.
A couple of years later. I loved boarding school. From the second I got there, it was an all-boys boarding school, so pretty much just live with your mates. You finish school at 3 o'clock, by 3:05, you're all on the field playing footy and mucking around. It was, in a way, it was kind of heaven for myself. Actually, when I went to boarding school, Harry Grant's dad actually coached my under 15s, 16s and 17s team. And Harry used to come to train and he was like 9. This little kid used to run around trying to tackle us at training. He was just a little pest all the time at training, and yeah, here we are now. He's going pretty well.
I think this is probably my highlight of your career.
Now Cleary, Ben Hunt! It's been pitched by Ben Hunt. Go Dozer! Hunt racing away upfield. Go! Ben Hunt, he goes to the corner. Go! Ben Hunt wins the Origin for Queensland.
You'd probably kill me for saying this, but after this particular moment in Origin, he had said, he's like, I have always thought, when I was growing up, if I just put my hands up and just catch, that ball and I just can run away and score a try. That was something that you had said your whole life. And then, that moment actually happened in the game and you won the series for Queensland.
Never have said that to anyone else. That in a way, I kind of manifested that, not in an Origin arena, but I'd always thought if you get close enough to someone and they're going for a chip, why can't I just catch it? I thought that as a kid and when I was younger, and somehow it just happened in one of the biggest arenas you can be in. And at the time I was just trying to do my job. We had been defending for 10, 15 minutes, just trying to hang on, and I was going out to put on kick pressure, and yeah, right spot, right time. It probably came at a really good time for myself in my career. We had some tough years, obviously down at Dragons and whatnot, and it just felt special in the moment for what it was, playing for Queensland, scoring that try, looking up and just seeing the whole wall of maroon just going absolutely nuts.
In game 3 at Suncorp.
Yeah, to win the series, it had all just built up to one of the most special moments ever to finish it at Suncorp. You dream about that stuff, you probably don't even dream about something that special. It's insane, and yeah, it's something that I'll definitely remember for a long time.
Yeah, it was an incredible moment. I was certainly very emotional on the sideline.
Yeah, it definitely gets me a bit emotional just watching it.
Yeah, it's very special. What makes me Ben's #1 fan is the fact that I have had front row seats to the entire show along the way. I've always admired his ability to continue to show up no matter what, having things that have happened within a game, moving past them and not letting it define him moving forward.
She doesn't just see what goes on the field. She lives and breathes it every day. She's not my #1 fan on the field, she's a #1 fan at home. She's there for the good and the bad. There's been a lot of bad along the way, and she stands solid right beside me through it all. So I'm Ben Hunt, and my wife Bridget is my #1 fan.